And I thought it was a very good news conference. I think they've come a long way. Meta, Facebook. I think they've come a long way. I watched it. The man was very impressive. I watched it. Actually, I watched it on Fox. I'm not allowed to say that. Say it?
Do you think he's directly responding to the threats that you have made to him in the past?
Probably. Yeah, probably.
That video was amazing. Do you think that, Mark Zuckerberg is responding to the threats you've made against him in the past? Yeah, probably. Well, following Mark Zuckerberg's decision to end their fact-checking program and instead revert to a community notes type process on Facebook, the Meta CEO is now giving Donald Trump yet another win. So he has agreed to pay almost $25 million to settle a 2021 lawsuit filed by Donald Trump against his company, against Meta, after Trump was banned from Facebook due to the January 6th Capitol riots. So let me give you some more context and then we'll get to what this settlement is all about. And let me just be clear, it's, in my opinion, obvious that had the suit continued, there's no way Trump would have won. I mean, Meta's a private company. They have the right to ban whoever they please, but let me continue. So back in 2021, Trump sued multiple big tech companies like Meta, X, which was Twitter at the time, and Google for their decision to suspend his accounts following the Capitol riots. Zuckerberg said in a January 7th, 2021 post on Facebook that Trump's refusal to condemn his supporters who stormed and occupied the Capitol showed that he intends to use his remaining time in office to undermine the peaceful and lawful transition of power to his elected successor, Joe Biden. Now, Trump's accounts on Facebook and Instagram remained locked until fairly recently. They were unlocked in February of 2023. A federal judge actually dismissed the Twitter suit. The Google suit was administratively closed in 2023, but the Facebook lawsuit was ongoing, although it was mostly inactive. So despite the inactivity, Donald Trump was still not a fan of Zuckerberg and threatened to send him to prison if he rigged the election against him earlier last year. Then things changed after Trump won the presidential election, securing a second term in office, of course. And Zuckerberg began ingratiating himself with the president-elect. Serious talks about the suit began after Zuckerberg flew to Trump's Mar-a-Lago club in Florida to dine with him in November, according to people familiar with the discussions. The dinner was one of several efforts by Zuckerberg and Meta to soften the relationship with Trump and the incoming administration. Toward the end of the November dinner, Trump raised the matter of the lawsuit, the people said. The president signaled that the litigation had to be resolved before Zuckerberg could be brought into the tent, one of the people said. So, and then he essentially agreed to settle Donald Trump's suit for $25 million. And according to the Wall Street Journal, of that 25 million, 22 million will go toward a fund for Trump's presidential library by the way, man, there's a lot of money going to the presidential library. Like, how much does it cost to build a presidential library? But I digress. With the rest of it going to legal fees and the other plaintiffs who signed on to the case. Meta won't admit wrongdoing, the people said. Trump signed the settlement agreement Wednesday in the Oval Office. So, look, I think Zuckerberg knows that lawsuit wasn't going anywhere. So in my opinion, this was another way of providing like a little financial benefit to Trump, a little quid pro quo, if you will. So what are your thoughts, Cenk?
Yeah, so lots of thoughts on this one. First of all, the suit was utter nonsense. Twitter won it easily because as a private company, they're not the government. They have no First Amendment obligations. They block people all the time. That goes to point number two. All right, Facebook, be careful, what you do here, because now everyone who is blocked on Facebook is going to sue them and expect a lot of money. I mean, they probably won't get it because they're not Donald Trump. They don't need to be bribed. So, you'll have a completely different standard applied to you. But with the law, if they just kept going, Donald Trump had no chance of winning that suit. So is it fair to, in our opinion, to call it a bribe? Yeah, Zuckerberg knows he was going to win that case. And by the way, he could have picked any number. He could have picked 5 million, 10 million. 25 million is a giant number, right? So that's a nice little bribe. But if you say, hey, wait a minute, now look, most of it is going to either legal expenses. Well, first of all, Trump owed that money to his lawyers, so that's $3 million in his pocket right now. But 22 million is going to the library. Remember the Clinton Foundation? The Clinton Foundation was largely a giant scam to house their entire staff before the election. And they pretended to do charity, and the Saudis and tons of other governments, et cetera, loaded up the Clinton Foundation with a lot of money. And people say, well, it's not going to the Clintons. It went to their staff, who they then immediately migrated over to the campaign as soon as Hillary Clinton started running. And then afterwards, the Clinton Foundation hasn't been heard of. So a lot of these guys fund their, people that they want to get money to, they'll put them in their library and their foundations, et cetera, and that's how you funnel money to them. So that's how this game is played. Now, on the other hand, Meta will allow us to put this video up deeply criticizing them. So give them credit for that. You might be seeing this on Facebook now as we speak. Now, I'm giving you all the nuance here. Now, two more things that are important. When it comes to what they should have done, that's a conundrum, man. Because on the one hand, was Trump encouraging violence? In my opinion, he definitely was. He saw that they were chanting, hang Mike Pence, hang Mike Pence. And he still encouraged it in the beginning. And it took him forever to tell them to stop and go home. And I can give you 1,000 other examples. And if you encourage violence, that's an excellent reason to take you down. Now, having said that, he's the president of the United States. He was the president of the United States back then when he did this stuff. He's now the president again. So it's super tough to block the leader of one of the parties. So I don't know if that's a different standard or not. It's a very difficult question if you ask me. All right, now
I actually think.
Yes, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I actually think real quick that Zuckerberg kind of handled it correctly because he lifted the suspension in February of 2023, just as like the election cycle. Well, actually, it's way well before the election cycle really started to heat up. So, yeah, like I don't have a problem with what Zuckerberg did here. And you're right. I mean, Donald Trump refused to step in for hours. He allowed the Capitol riots to go on for hours before he finally stepped in.
And you mean Facebook and Meta's policy not giving him the $25 million?
Correct, exactly, yes.
Yes, and so finally, why did he give him $25 million? And why does he want to ingratiate himself here? Did he really think, oh my God, I've got a guilty conscience for blocking him? No, of course not. The guilty conscience developed right after Trump won the election. Don't be ridiculous, right? So the reason that he did it is because he has so many things in front of the government. They were investigating whether Meta was a monopoly. He wants that to go away. That's a huge problem for Meta. And if he treats Trump right and gets him enough money, I mean, legal settlements, then maybe that problem goes away. And Trump has a well-known history of caring about money and making things go away for his donors. And then finally, AI is gigantic. Meta's also in that game. And the government is doing a lot, including potentially subsidizing companies that are going in that direction. So he now sees that Elon Musk, just from a financial and business perspective, was right in giving a lot of money, okay, we won't call it bribes, to Donald Trump, and that will get you a lot of goodies back, especially as everything that Elon Musk owns soared in the stock market after Trump won, because the market concluded that the government was going to give Elon Musk a lot of favors, of course, from all of our pockets. And so now Zuckerberg and the others are trying to get in on those goodies. Give me more taxpayer money.
Bingo. Yep, that's exactly right.
Hey, thanks for watching that video. We really appreciate it, guys. And we appreciate it if you become members, because that allows us to be independent, honest, progressive, all the things that you don't get from corporate media. And all of that is because of you guys. Hit the join button below and become one of us, become a Young Turk.